What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got some rather gigantic Keyforge news to talk about. The World Championships have been announced and we've got a whole bunch of awesome information about them. We've got some little bits of news and we've also got confirmation that there is a new strand of Keyforge organised play with cash prizes up to $25,000. I know, right? So, first things first, little bit of news. It has been confirmed, and this was news that came out a few days ago, that there are going to be leaderboards in store, and the winners, or at least the top 4 on the leaderboard, are going to be able to get decks with alternate art cards. Now, it was confirmed today that there will essentially be 3 months to begin with, and each month will have a prize with one alternate art card, though you could get multiple versions of it. So only one card in the deck will be alternate art, but you could get a lot of different copies of that card. Now, it showed us the other day Hawk, which is going to be the first month. The other 2 months, now it's not actually been confirmed which way round they're going, but one of them is going to feature the new Saurian Republic card, Axiom of Grisk, which is a card we've talked about before. Essentially, you ward a creature, and then you destroy each creature with no amber on it, and gain 2 chains. So all your creatures get the amber on, destroy everything else. The other one that's been revealed is Unsuspecting Prey, which I don't believe has actually been revealed yet. It is an untamed action, and when you play it, you deal 2 damage to up to 3 undamaged creatures. So nice for chucking a bit of damage around. Think of it like Twin Bolt Emission, where you can do damage to more creatures, 3 rather than 2, but unfortunately they've got to be undamaged to do so. Now, they did also mention procedurally generated cards. Now, Richard Garfield, who was on the stream, did refer to Master of 1, 2, and 3, but did admit that they weren't really procedurally generated. He did give on the stream 2 examples of cards. Now, we don't have pictures, unfortunately, but he gave 2 examples of procedurally generated cards that will be in Worlds Collide. And by that, we mean that the card will actually change what it does from deck to deck. So he told us about Cultural Exchange Officer, which is a Grand Star Alliance card, and what it does is it swaps its place in your deck with another creature. So it could swap a Brobnar creature, so the Brobnar goes into Grand Star Alliance and Cultural Exchange Officer goes into Brobnar. And it could do this with any creature in your deck. He also told us about The Brew, a new Brobnar card that adds 2 power to one of the creatures in your deck. So you get the Brew in your Brobnar suite, and then one of the creatures in your deck, in any of the 3 houses, ends up having 2 more power than it normally would. That sounds awesome, and I love it. But the big news was all about tournaments, and the first thing they did was they announced the World Championship. Now, we know there isn't one in 2019. They're letting the game sit for a bit, but it has been confirmed that the World Championship will be held in May 2020. I don't think they actually said that on the stream, but it was in the comments, and it was posted by FFG Live themselves, and it is going to be somewhere in and around Minnesota, over in the USA, which shouldn't surprise you because that's where Fantasy Flight Games are based, and we don't know what they're going to do with future World Championships, but any company launching Worlds for a new game is definitely going to do it as close as they can to their head office. That just makes a whole bunch more sense. I mean, Pokemon announced the first World Championships outside of North America the other day. Where is it? It's in London. Why is it in London? Because that's where their European office is. I don't think that's a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. Will it be in other cities in the future? We have no idea. It's not even worth trying to predict. And what is super, super weird, but also awesome, it is going to be a team event. That's right. The World Championships of Keyforge is going to be a team event. And the way it's going to work, only one person on your team needs to have an invite for the World Championships. If you gain an invite, you are going to be able to take 2 people along, even if they don't have invites. And this wasn't explicitly stated, but it seems pretty obvious to me that you can, if you so wish, form your team of people that do have invites. And you've got to imagine that most of the teams will have at least 2, if not 3 people who do have an invite, because they will represent the players who have been the most successful in Keyforge, which is pretty much the best players. So that kind of makes sense. How do you qualify for Worlds? There are 3 ways to qualify for the World Championships. First place at a Prime Championship, top 4 at a Grand Championship, and it's finally been confirmed that if you are in the top 100 on the Vault Tour leaderboard, you will get an invite to the World Championships. Nice and simple. Top 100. For people like me, it's largely irrelevant, but the people who are kind of in the top 5 already, it's a pretty good shot that they might already have their invite, or at least 1 or 2 more finishes will really shore it up. Okay, it rewards people who have gone to lots of Vault Tours, but shouldn't it? Shouldn't you get rewarded for going and doing quite well at multiple Vault Tours? If you don't want an invite through Vault Tours, win a Prime or get top 4 in a Grand. Boom, sorted. Now, it has also been revealed that invites from a Prime Championship will pass down, but only to the player who got second. They will not pass down any further. What is extremely weird, and I did not see coming, they can pass down retroactively. What that means is that if you get second in a Prime Championship, but the person who wins later gets an invite from being in the top 100 in the Vault Tour leaderboard, you will get their invite after the fact. So go get second at a bunch of Primes and cross your fingers that the winner does well in Vault Tours. It was not mentioned whether that would happen if the winner of the Prime where you got second went and got an invite through a Prime or a Grand Championship. So I think we should assume not, unless we hear otherwise. And they did mention that at the World Championships will be side events, game developers will be there, the EU team will be there, and they will be trying out new, never-before-seen formats, as well as having new and unique items on the prize wall. But the final and most giant of announcements, the Vault Warrior Championship Series, is that the right way to phrase it? Yeah, let's go for that. There is going to be a new series of tournaments, which is going to be the Vault Warrior Tournament. And this is a separate strand of organised play to what we've been seeing so far. So at the moment, we've got Store Championships and Grand and Prime and all of that. They are completely and utterly separate to what we're seeing here, which is kind of cool. You can ignore this entirely, or you can get on board. The choice is yours. Now, the way it works is that there will be Vault Tour tryouts all over the place. They are going to be store-level events. The winner earns a free seat at a Vault Warrior qualifier, and this has not been explicitly explained yet. It seems like you don't have to do the tryouts. If you win a tryout, you get a free seat at the Vault Warrior qualifier. Otherwise, you've got to pay the entry fee. But it seems like this is an optional extra to try and win your entry fee back, essentially. It doesn't seem like you need to. You then move on to Vault Warrior qualifiers. Now, these are going to have cash prizes. The prize pool will be $10,000, and the winner will get $2,500 of it. The top 32 players will be invited to the championship, and there are cash prizes on offer. That's kind of cool. And then the third and final tier is the Vault Warrior Championships, where the real money is on offer, from $750 for top 32 all the way up to a $25,000 prize. And this is being held in Miami. And it has been confirmed that the winner of the qualifiers And there will only be 10 qualifiers, incidentally. They will be spread around the world. The winner of the 10 qualifiers will get their flight to Miami paid, but only the winners of the qualifiers. Now, you do not have to get top 32 at a qualifier in order to play in the championship, although it's going to be quite difficult otherwise. There is a last chance qualifier, and the last chance qualifiers will be held in the days leading up to the main event. 2 qualifiers per day, 5 rounds per event, and you need to go 4-1 or 5-0. Although, to be honest, as soon as you go 4-0, you probably just, scoop the last round. You don't need to play it in order to get into the Vault Warrior Championship proper. If you already have a seat for the Vault Warrior Championship, you cannot go into the last chance qualifier. But the formats for these 3 tiers are where it gets really interesting. At the tryouts, it is Archon of the current set only. No, this is not a rotation. A rotation is you can't use your previous decks. No. This is a special series of tournaments with their own formats, and if you haven't figured it out by now, Keyforge do their own formats. It's kind of their thing. This is not a rotation. Please don't call it a rotation. It's not a rotation. It is a special series of tournaments focusing on the newer sets. Now, you can do adaptive, which is best of 3, where game 1 you use your deck, game 2 you swap decks, game 3 you bid chains for whichever deck you want. Triad, you take 3 decks and you essentially play with them throughout the day. And solo best of 3, you take 1 deck, but you play in best of 3. The Vault Warrior qualifiers are going to be over 3 days. Day 1 is Archon with the current set. Day 2 is Archon with the 2 previous sets, which means you bring 1 deck from each of the 2 previous sets. So if it was held now, you'd need 1 Call of the Archon deck and 1 Age of Ascension deck, and you will be playing 2 deck elimination, which is each player chooses 1 of 2 decks from their opponent to play against. The other is eliminated from that round, and once you've got your single deck, you then play adaptive, solo, best of 3, or reversal, depending on the tournament structure, which means there are an awful lot of options going on here. You take 1 deck from each of the previous 2 series, but you might end up playing in any of adaptive, solo, best of 3, or reversal. Whoever has the highest combined results, the highest combined score from day 1 and 2, go on to day 3, at which point you can use any of the decks from day 1 or day 2. You choose a deck, and presumably at that point you're into a more traditional elimination structure. There is a lot to get through from today's news, and hopefully I have taken you through it rather nicely, and I have explained it all. The World Championships and the Vault Warrior Championships are separate. It's going to be very interesting to me what players actually covet and which of these tournaments people are most excited about and where the best players go. Honestly, I would imagine that the top level players will just do both. It makes sense to me that the best players in the world would just try winning both, and I think that's probably what we're going to see. How do we feel about having cash prizes? Honestly, that is not a question for today. There's too much to talk about in this video. That can be a question that we get to in the future. But with alternate art cards at store level events, the World Championships being a team event for which up to 2/3 of the players don't even need an invite, and a new series of tournaments with cash prizes, this is a really big day of Keyforge news. They've been teasing us for a month about the giant announcements, and you know what? I don't think they disappointed. But I'd like to know your opinion on all of this, so let me know in the comment section. Though please be nice, and then go nuts. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, That's where we talk about Keyforge and any other games that take our fancy. And do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio if you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching an exciting and gigantic Wossy Plays.